to still waters. Oh, yeah. Lead me to still waters. Lead me if you will. Oh, lead me to still waters. Lead me to still waters. To waters that never will run dry. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Lead me to still waters. There is a restlessness at the heart of things. A restlessness for more pervades our Western culture. We want more knowledge. We want questions answered about life, the universe, and everything. We want to know how things work, what way the world is heading. We want to find more purpose. We talk about the purpose-driven life, how to live your better life, how to get to your goals, often without asking the value of the purpose we set ourselves or the goals that we set ourselves. We yearn for more meaning. If I can just find the meaning for my life, or indeed the meaning to life, 42 and all that. We yearn for more joy. We're desperate for fun and laughter and parties and concerts. Maybe more sex or physical pleasure in other ways. We want more certainty. Some want boundaries and answers. Certainty about right and wrong. And the list could go on and on. And sometimes it all just bubbles under the surface. A hungering, a restlessness for something new or meaningful or life-enhancing. And all these things I've mentioned are good things. Many are worth pursuing. But driving them all is often a restlessness. Have you ever known someone with restless leg syndrome? They can't stop shaking their leg. And for some, it's a genuine medical condition and a source of discomfort. But I think sometimes it's a habit of the body that's been developed over a period of time, perhaps beginning in the teenage years, where they've got too much hormones rushing through the system or too much energy in the system. And now it's just a habit. I've known it affect a number of people of all ages and stations in life, from a CEO downwards into all walks of life. Energy to burn. And their leg seems to be saying to them, I don't like sitting around all day. I'm wasting my movement here. I feel like a rocking chair, making motion but going nowhere. Let's do something active. And by the way, all this movement I'm doing doesn't count as exercise. You do know that, right? That's if a leg could talk. But suppose our whole culture has restless leg syndrome. The whole advertising industry both creates and feeds upon our longing for something new, something more, something different, something fresh. We are restless because we are conditioned that way. Our economic culture is built upon that basis. You don't just need a phone, you need the latest phone. Some of the things we are restless for are not bad things. But restlessness is a kind of yearning put into wrong places and wrong things. Not necessarily wrong in the moral sense of the word, just secondary to the main thing. And here's the thing. As one famous author put it, when you get to the top, you discover that there's nothing there. The end of restlessness does not happen when you get what you aim for. Even if you get what you wanted, there is still a yearning, a restlessness for something more. U2 many years ago sang that great de-churched anthem, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. I once saw a young man in a local church singing that song with a change in the lyrics, singing, I've finally found what I'm looking for. And I thought, no, you're missing the point there. We will always be in that space of asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And the answer coming back, not yet, not yet. This is the human condition. The end of restlessness is not gaining the object of our desires and our plans, the answers to our questions, money, purpose, whatever. It's actually something different. These things are secondary to the main thing. So what relevance is all this if you have one foot in the church and one out of the church? Perhaps you have left church because you did sense that, quote, there must be something more. Maybe the vision of meaning presented by the church felt small and kind of otherworldly in the place that you worshipped. It wasn't celebratory of life. It wasn't life affirming. It wasn't creation affirming. Your life wasn't bigger and more expansive because of being part of God's people. Rather, it felt confined and restricted. So you were restless for something more. Understandably so, in my opinion. Sometimes folks join a big church because they have a strong vision there at the church, or great programs, or great music and a nice crowd. But after a while, there is still inside an unsatisfied yearning, a restlessness. Did you know that boredom was a word that came into use in the last few centuries? The earliest known record of it is 1778. It had within it a sense of ennui, of listlessness, of being dissatisfied with life and a lack of purpose, being unhappy with your occupation, perhaps lacking excitement to get you up in the morning. We've all had a bit of that, haven't we? This word came into use, interestingly, as more people had a little more free time on their hands. They weren't making ends meet 24 hours a day. More and more of the middle class had a little left over for luxuries and entertainment and other jobs than the one their father had done before them. Boredom and restlessness actually became part of the culture. I have a confession to make. I get bored in church sometimes. And I'm paid to enjoy church. I get bored in prayer meetings sometimes, and I'm paid to be good at praying. Of course, the rest of you are good for nothing, sort of thing. But the world of mass media teaches us that we need never be bored again. But how many of us in the last year have seen too much of Netflix or Disney or Amazon Prime, and we know that the answer to joy and meaning and our restlessness is not to binge on the latest series. The answer to that restlessness is not the good or fun things of the modern world. It's not even church or great things in church. It's not even achieving our goals in life. So what is it? The church father Augustine famously said, "Our hearts are restless until they rest in him." The answer is not in getting the answer. Let me say that again. The answer is not in getting the answer. It is in being with the one who made us. The paraphernalia of church can sometimes get in the way of that. So if you have one foot either side of the church threshold, maybe you have to leave to continue your journey. That local church may not have the capacity to hold space with you and your life journey and your questions. Or it may be too constricted a space for your life and how you are traveling and journeying and developing your way of thinking about God and the world and everything. The response to being restless about a restricted space is perhaps to leave. But here's the thing, you mustn't just leave and allow your restlessness to rule. Turn it into a proactive pursuit of divine love. The key to overcoming restlessness isn't a passive kind of stillness either. It may involve stillness, but the stillness itself is always a means to an end. The goal is the pursuit of God. Seek first the kingdom of God, said Jesus, and all these other things will fall into place. And the kingdom of God just simply means not a place, not a somewhere we go, but the reign, the rule, the presence of God. So know this, you will probably be taking the restlessness with you wherever you go, and indeed, to some extent, to the end of your days. So try and make sure you don't get caught up with secondary things. Good things, but secondary things. We go out on a journey, perhaps a de-church journey, to find the one who called us to live in peace, not in order to paper over our own restlessness. When Jesus speaks of the woman in Luke chapter 7 who washed his feet, he literally says, go into peace, go into shalom, go into wholeness, learn how to dwell in it and go on doing so. You're not the sum of your past or what others say about you, or even the goals that you've set for yourself. Your identity is in the shalom of God. Now that woman in the story needed to hear that because there were judging voices all around her. And Jesus says, go into shalom. And shalom is a word of wholeness, of peace and of well-being. Go on dwelling in it, says Jesus. Paul writes this, I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. And I can see the capitalists and the economists out there going, how can you say this, Paul? We sustain our whole economy not on people being content, but people being restless. Paul says, I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I've learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little, for I can do everything through Christ. The key to all restlessness is finding our own corrective patterns and habits that nurture that sense of contentment. Habits that both counteract the predominant culture of more, and habits that connect us to God. Ways that help us resist the pull of our restless cultural norms. Ways that help us rest in the one we have set out to follow. This will make the de-church journey of deconstruction be something more than just a running away and escaping, although it probably has to be at least that. Instead, it will become one that is not just an expression of restless boredom, but one that is a proactive discovery of the God who is out there to meet us on the road. May that be your experience. You've been listening to dchurch.com. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for responding to us and joining with us on our Facebook page. Please continue to do that and share the word about dchurch.com. My name is Jules. Thanks for listening.